Howdy, howdy. That's what we say in Texas. Howdy, y'all. Today, we're going to talk about how chiropractic and spinal manipulative therapy win yet again. We'll talk about how push-ups may tell us more than what you see on the surface. We'll discuss some new information on low back discs and how they're affected by iron. And then we're going to gloss over a paper on physical therapy just to toss you some thought nuggets. But first, just for my friend and colleague, Dr. Michael Henry down in Austin, here's that You Know You Love It bumper music. He's a big fan. Here we go now. Heck yeah, we're back. Welcome to the podcast today. I'm Dr. Jeff Williams. I'm your host of the Chiropractic Forward podcast. You have shimmied all 60s style into episode number 64, and we are so glad that you did. We're here to advocate for chiropractic. We're here to give you some awesome information that we hope is going to make your life easier day to day. We're going to keep you from wasting time in your week and give you confidence in your recommendations and treatments. And I feel confident in guaranteeing you that. And if you listen and you are frequent here with this podcast, I just think it's a given that your life gets easier. Now, part of saving you time and effort is having the right patient education tools in your office, tools that educate based on solid researched information. And we offer you that. It's done for you. We're taking pre-orders right now for our brand new evidence-based office brochures available at chiropracticforward.com. I noticed an error on the shipping charge last week. That has now been corrected. It does not cost $150 or whatever to order a box of brochures. Now, just click the store link at the top right of the homepage, and you will be off and running. Just shoot me an email at dr.williams@chiropracticforward.com. If you see something that is out of sorts or isn't working correctly, it's a new thing. We're just building, so I'm sure that there are still some little glitches or bugs, but I'm honest, ethical. If there's an issue, shoot me an email. We'll get it taken care of. Ultimately, I just want you to have the brochures if you're interested in them, and I think they're really cool. Now, let's talk a bit about the diplomat of the Academy of Chiropractic Orthopedists program, also known as the DACO. If you're a regular listener here, you know I am going through the DACO program and really rocking and rolling, man. I am 161 hours into the online hours. You need 250. I'm 161 in. And I have finished all 50 of my live hours. So I am really getting there. I'm pretty excited. Let's see. Oh, and I finished up the last 10 of the 50 live hours just last weekend down in Austin at the Texas Chiropractic Association's legislative seminar. And not only did I get all the hours wrapped up, but I also got to see a lot of colleagues that I've been doing battle alongside with for the last 8 years or so. You may or may not know that the Texas Medical Association is particularly aggressive and attacks at will for anything and everything, which means we have to constantly raise funds to defend those attacks. It's this cute little thing we do with each other from year to year. It's really a special relationship chiropractors have with the TMA, as you might imagine. I keep thinking one day they're going to start listening to their own profession and leave us the hell alone. But nope, not so far. Not until they have full and complete control of chiropractic care in Texas and a monopoly on any healthcare practitioner in Texas, which is not going to happen. Just so you know, that's not going to happen. They think it is, but that's not going to happen. They sued us because 2 docs in Texas were doing, they were neurodiplomats, but they were doing VAUNT testing, which is vestibular ocular nystagmus testing. I'd never even heard of VONT, vestibular ocular nystagmus testing. Easy for you to say. I'd never even heard of VONT until this last time we got sued by TMA a few years ago. And if you give me a good reason why a neurodiplomat cannot do VONT testing, I'm going to send you a candy bar or some chiclets or something like that. And it's enough to make a guy crazy. 2 neurodiplomats in Texas. And that was enough. And they're diplomats. Extra training. And that's enough to sue all chiropractors in Texas over. It's just absolute stupidity. But, it's enough to make you crazy. I got to meet a lot of bright new people ready to help the TCA fight and overcome. One of them being Andrea Oman recently. She just moved to Texas from Minnesota, and she's in some sort of a hospital setting. I don't have specifics on that, but what I do know is she's a bright star to keep an eye on here in Texas. And I met Dr. Jamie Marshall. Thank you for listening down in Conroe, Texas. I really appreciate you. I got to see Staff Sergeant Shiloh Harris speak. I mentioned him a couple of episodes ago, but I have to tell you, this man is a hell of a speaker, and he's in our corner specifically. He gives chiropractic care all of the credit for helping him get through all of his injuries and surgeries. He was blown up by an IED in Iraq and has been through absolute hell to get to where he is now. And chiropractic, he says, was key in getting him there. Very emotional, very impactful. I can't imagine a legislator being confronted by him and his story and not being forced to see it our way. I mean, it's that powerful. Thanks to Shiloh for everything he's doing for this profession. We really, really appreciate it. We have a heck of a team member in Staff Sergeant Harris. I hope you'll go to his website at shilohharris.com and see what all he's about. Beyond that, our DACO hours were taught by Jeffrey Miller, who is a chiropractor on staff at the University of Missouri Medical School. He is not as sharp as Attack. He's actually sharper than Attack. And he told me he'd love to join us on the podcast. So I'm going to do us all a favor, and I'm going to get that set up. We also have Dr. Christine Gertz's episode coming up very quickly. We'll record that next week. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Also, Dr. Tim Bertelsmann is doing us a favor and coming on the show in April. So that's pretty exciting. We got a lot of neat stuff coming up for the podcast, so keep on tuning in. Now, let's get on with this week's episode. Item number 1. Our first item here is called Manipulative Therapies, What Works? It was authored by Dr. Michael Smith, an MD, and his herd of colleagues. It was published in American Family Physician, February 15th, 2019. I got this one from Dr. William Lawson down in Austin, who is a DABCO and a swell dude on top of that. In case you missed it, this herd of authors are all medical doctors. They start by saying that manipulative therapies include things like osteopathic manipulative treatment, which, you know what? It's the same as chiropractic manipulative treatment, okay? Come on. They say that when you compare manipulative therapy to oral analgesics, cervical manipulation and or mobilization appears to provide better short-term pain relief and improved function in patients with neck pain. They go on to say that manipulative therapy may be as effective as amitriptyline for treating migraine headaches and can reduce the frequency and intensity of pain. While there's some evidence showing that manipulative therapy can reduce length of hospital stays for preterm infants, there is zero research for some of the other reasons we see chiropractors treating infants, things like otitis media, colic, allergies, and respiratory conditions. That was all in the abstract. That's the medical world starting to take note. Can you hear it? When do the insurance companies start to take note as well? That's really when our lives start changing. Oh, happy day. I have a dream. A dream where we are no longer persecuted for being right all the damn time. A dream that chiropractors don't go around saying crazy crap and making the rest of us look bad. I have a dream, people. Okay. I'm not going to pretend to be as good of an orator as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but you do get the point, I hope.
You've been acting really weird lately.
Maybe that's true, but, running a podcast will make you crazy. That the more of these articles that come out, the more they have to start gathering steam, wouldn't you think? Maybe turn on a light bulb at night in South Texas and just see what happens. The bugs start swarming. Turn on this kind of light, and you'll see these articles begin to catch fire more and more. They catch more and more attention until we finally have a consensus in the medical field, a consensus that says, hell, looks like they've been on to something this whole damn time. We better take another look at those guys. But this is an excellent paper, and we need to keep seeing this more and more. Even if they're talking specifically about osteopathic manipulative therapy, we know that chiropractors do it too. And, in fact, chiropractors do almost all of it these days. DOs have moved almost completely to medicine. We're the ones moving the joints, so let's make no mistake about it. Now, on to item number 2, push-ups. What can they tell us? Well, it appears they can tell us quite a lot from an article in Study Finds called Men Who Can Do More Than 40 Push-Ups Far Less Likely to Develop Heart Disease. This article covers a new study that showed that men possessing the ability to perform 40 push-ups in one attempt are much less likely to suffer from heart disease within the next 10 years. They showed where middle-aged men who can put in more than 40 in a single try have a 96% less chance of having heart disease when compared to those who could complete no more than 10 push-ups. So it appears to me that it is indeed time to start doing some push-ups muy pronto. Now, item 3. This one comes to us from the American Journal of Translational Research and is called Iron Deficiency Accelerates Intervertebral Disc Degeneration Through Affecting the Stability of DNA Polymerase Epsilon Complex. It was published in November 2015 and appears to be mostly Chinese researchers. Could be Japanese, Korean, could be Vietnamese, but the name of the lead author is Chung-Yang Zhong, and there was a whole host of other names that appear to be just as difficult to pronounce, so I'm not even going to make an effort. We are not going to get deep into the details here because I'm not too proud to admit that the information here goes far above my head in many ways. I've said it before. I'm no guru. I'm like Alex Trebek on Jeopardy. He delivers the info, but believe you me, I'm crapping you negative here. I promise he's no expert on every question coming across his lips. Now, when we stick to the basics of this paper, we see that iron serves as an important cofactor of iron-containing proteins that play critical roles in the maintenance of DNA stability and cell cycle progression. They say that disturbed iron homeostasis gives rise to things like cancer and anemia. In addition, they say that they found clear correlation between iron deficiency and intervertebral disc degeneration. They wrapped up their paper by saying, in summary, our study suggests that iron deficiency is an important factor in the aggravation of intervertebral disc degeneration. Proper iron supplementation may be an effective strategy to alleviate the symptoms of patients with intervertebral disc degeneration. End quote. Nice to know. Getting labs is not a terrible idea. Now, item number 4, our last on the list, it has to do with PTs, and it's called Minimal Physical Therapy Utilization Compared with Higher Physical Therapy Utilization for Patients with Low Back Pain, a systematic review, authored by Heidi Oiha and a gaggle of others, and published in Physiotherapy Theory and Practice, February 2019. Very new stuff. Now, this was a systematic review to compare the effects of minimal physical therapy utilization, which was 2 visits or less, versus typical physical therapy utilization consisting of 3 or more visits on patient-important outcomes for patients having low back pain. And they say this research is needed because there's such a variation in physical therapy use for those with low back pain. Welcome to the chiropractic world, folks. Interestingly, they found that when compared with minimal utilization, higher utilization demonstrated no significant differences on pain, disability, or quality of life at the 1-year follow-up. What? Did you hear that? Interestingly, I'm going to repeat it. Interestingly, they found that when compared with minimal utilization, higher utilization, 3 visits or more, demonstrated no significant differences in pain, disability, or quality of life at the 1-year follow-up. Even more interesting was that the conclusion of the paper said the following, quote, while higher utilization may not result in significant improvements in patient-important outcomes, it may be more cost-effective for patients with chronic or complex lower back pain conditions when compared to minimal utilization. So what in the hell does that mean? Are you listening? It's not going to make you any difference to see, here's what they're saying basically. It's not going to make you any difference to see us a lot, but the price point is agreeable, so by all means, we'd like to see you a crap load. Which, between me and you, is not quite as much as a crap ton. By the way, you know what I mean. I have noticed so many papers that basically cast a lot of doubt on PT in general, while all we seem to find in regards to manipulative therapy are positive reaffirmation of the chiropractic profession. It just makes me wonder where the tipping point is, to be honest. When does the medical industry start to look at chiropractic as being more effective for these conditions than PT and making those referrals accordingly? I had some insight on a PT private group on Facebook just a couple of weeks ago, and the PTs were piling on this chiropractor's advertisement techniques. And let's be fair, the DC was a knucklehead and was not being honest in identifying himself as a chiropractor in his marketing. But for discussion purposes here, that's beside the point. They were bashing not only on that single specific chiropractor, but they started bashing on our profession as a whole. Not all of them, but 70% of them probably. I bash on aspects of my profession as well, but where the rubber hits the road, people, we average better patient outcomes, we are safe, we are effective, and we average higher patient satisfaction. Even if some in our profession would win a county craziness competition.
This is ridiculous.
It certainly can be, but you don't believe me? Go listen to episode number 49 of this podcast, where we go over the Parker Gallup poll. Very interesting episode, and there are some really valuable marketing nuggets in that one for you, so definitely worth the listen. Also, episode number 26 talks about PTs and DCs, the age-old grudge match. Go check them out, see what you think. Some in our profession, I hate to say it, but they're simply imbeciles. And that sounds harsh, but for a time after graduating, I held no interest in furthering my education. I wanted to coast. I'd done the hard work, right? I was so smart already after all those years of college. Well, you don't know what you don't know. And I can admit that for a few years there, I was an imbecile. They learned enough to pass, but that doesn't make them smart or ethical, and that's sad. But again, when all is said and done, our profession consistently proves itself and is proven by insurance companies, governments, polls, surveys, and universities. From what I've seen recently, I can't say the same for them, and I just can't see where they feel they have some moral high ground or platform to stand on and spout a bunch of denigrating crap at chiropractors. And I thought it'd be a good idea once to refer to a PT. I had a car wreck patient and thought they could use PT at that time. And at that time, I wasn't equipped to do much rehab. So on to the PT they went. In 2 damn weeks, the PT ran up a bill that would have literally taken me 4 months to run up. I was astounded. And in that 2-week period, there was little to no improvement for the patient. On a separate occasion, I had a disc patient finally settled down and doing great. She was a very active person, very much into working out and a healthy lifestyle. And I finally had her disc settled down to a point that she thought she'd go get a PT on top of what I was doing. And she didn't talk to me about it. She just did it. Her thought process was that it'd just be that much better to combine the two, chiropractic and PT. And honestly, that's not bad thinking in theory. Ideally, chiropractors and physical therapists should be working together instead of against each other. But regardless, she came back after just 1 visit to the PT, almost unable to walk or function. We tried and tried over the next 2 or 3 weeks to get it to settle back down, but she ended up taking herself to the surgeon to get out of pain. She would have done anything. Sorry, PTs. Quit talking smack and work with us instead of against us. Ideally, as I said, PTs and chiropractors work hand in hand and complement each other. Many offices can and should operate in this manner. In reality, though, I see PTs as great for post-operative rehab and rehab after certain types of injuries. But when it comes to joints and spines in general, they can't touch us. They try, but they cannot touch us. They talk bad about us. They steal services from us. They think they have the moral high ground on us, but they can't touch us. They can't touch those of us practicing in an evidence-informed manner anyways. Those not practicing evidence-informed techniques actually continue to provide them with whatever moral high ground they believe they have. And I, for one, would like to move on from the beginnings and progress our profession, much like the MDs have done over the last 150 years. They went from bloodletting, leeches, and lobotomies to what they can do now. Yet, there's still a part of our profession wanting to hold on dearly to our origins of 100-plus years ago. I guess my thought process is chiropractors, hey, let go. Just let go. Progress. Practice current. In the current day and age, practice evidence-informed. It'll help you, and it'll help the profession in general. That's my opinion anyways. Take it or leave it. I'm just a random dude with a microphone. So, whatever. But this week, I want you to go forward with, number 1, chiropractic wins and wins and wins again. We all made the right decision. We just need to only use our powers for good. Number 2, push-ups. We better start doing them. Number 3, iron deficiency for disc degeneration is something worth looking at. And number 4, when we are practicing evidence-informed chiropractic care, PTs only wish they could get the results that we can get. Just one more reason we need to be integrated into the system, and we need to be working with PTs rather than against. That's because, with absolute certainty, that when chiropractic is at its best, you cannot beat the risk versus reward ratio because spinal pain is primarily a movement-related pain and typically responds better to movement-related treatment instead of chemical treatments like pills and shots. When compared to the traditional medical model, research and clinical experience show that many patients get good or excellent results through chiropractic for headaches, neck pain, back pain, joints, and all kinds of stuff. Now, chiropractic care is safe. It's cost-effective. It can decrease instances of surgery and disability. And chiropractors can do this typically through conservative, non-surgical means with minimal time requirements on the part of the patient. And if the patient develops a preventative mindset going forward from initial recovery, chiropractors can usually keep it that way while raising the general overall level of health of the patient. But the key point, if you don't remember anything else, is that patients should have the guarantee of having the best treatment, offering the least harm. You know what? That's chiropractic, people. Send us an email at dr.williams@chiropractic4.com. Let us know what you think of the show. Tell us if you have some suggestions for future episodes. Feedback and constructive criticism is a blessing, and so are subscribes and excellent reviews on iTunes and other podcast services. Y'all know how this works by now, so help if you don't mind taking a few seconds to do so. Help us get to the top of the podcast in our industry. That's how we get the message out. Can't wait to connect with you again next week from the Chiropractic 4 podcast flight deck. This is Dr. Jeff Williams saying upward, onward, and forward. Be sure to find me on social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. While you're at it, give us a thumbs up on YouTube. That's super simple. Be sure and visit chiropractic4.com. Give our podcast a listen. Lots of wonderful, wonderful information there. And as always, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.